Welcome. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show. I am your host, Sister Speak. The Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through the arts. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through Ayana, but you better call me Sister Speak. Welcome. Welcome to my first time listeners and welcome back to my faithful listeners. How are you all doing? I hope all is well with you in 2022 so far. I hope you're encouraged and I hope you're ready for this episode. On the Suspense Files, we cover the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, cold cases, mysteries, obsession, stalking, the entire gamut when it comes to thrillers in urban crime for all shades of brown people. To my first time listeners, I want you to be aware of how we do things here on the Sister Speak show. You're going to need two things when you're listening. You're going to need water and you're going to need scuba gear. Water because that's just the only way that you'll be able to live, keep up, heal your body. It's the gasoline that you need to go, and we do not want you to fall behind when you are listening to the Sister Speak show. Scuba gear because we dive deep on the Sister Speak show. We cover topics and we go to depths that some may be uncomfortable going to. But we're a bold podcast. This is a bold network. I am pro-village. I am pro-Most High God and Yah. And you will understand that I am solid when it comes to being for the village. Period. Point blank. Now, this is a first and last warning. The Sister Speak Show Network is rated R for strong language, thoughts, and ideas. I'm just warning you in advance. It is what it is. Tonight's episode on the Suspense Files. The Foul Odor. Foul play killers. They're in the trunk. I want everybody to be prepared because this episode is graphic in nature, gruesome, and will leave chills running up and down your spine. The hairs on your arms, quite possibly, they stand up. Your eyes may bulge. You may actually forget to breathe because the intensity and the anxiety that these news clips project, it's real in the field because these things really have happened. And you never know what's going on in the neighborhood or down the street or at a dump site or in an abandoned warehouse. But there are some killers who use the trunks of cars as a temporary casket for their victims. Now, I don't know your personal stories. You may know of somebody close to you, or maybe this might have happened in your area where you heard of breaking news that a victim of what appears to be foul play was found in the back of someone's car, and that they have arrested the suspect, or they are looking for the suspect, or they have no idea. Either way, the fact that these acts have taken place in urban areas and have affected our village, we have to talk about it. And we have to figure out what's going on because the energies are demonic. They're satanic. You're not tapped into your right mind. I don't know what it is to commit a murder. However, I see the after effects of it. And there's no way, shape, or form that anybody who ends up in the trunk of a car, for the most part, they don't deserve to be there. Now, some say, well, what do you mean for the most part? I'm just saying just what I said, for the most part. 9 times out of 10, the reason is because this person or persons are the victims of foul play. And we need to get into the word, understanding what foul play is about. Foul play is just, this is somebody who has done the unthinkable, has committed several crimes, several acts of manic violence against a victim or victims. And some of the victims are found intact and some of them are found dismembered. But the common key piece of evidence in all of these cases is the fact that police enforcement or neighbors or family members were led to discover that there is a body in the trunk, that they're in the trunk. So we're going to get into it, brothers and sisters. I want you to definitely understand something. We have to be able to think before we act. And if we allow ourselves to get into the rage energy, if we allow ourselves to be unbalanced, the unthinkable could actually pop up into your mind and could actually try to GPS your way, have you GPS your way straight to prison, because all actions lead to going to prison, going straight to prison, or in some cases, going to an insane asylum because this person has been deemed by the courts as literally crazy. When one has several voices in their heads, when they are dealing with demonic energies, when they may dibble and dabble or be heavily addicted to certain type of drugs that lead to psychosis and hallucinations and just tapping into realms that our mind should not be tapping into, they are susceptible and to suggestive influences of schizophrenic, manic, depressive, malicious behaviors that result in bodies being put in the trunk or a body being put in the trunk. The last thing any of us ever want to have to discover is that somebody who we are cool with has the capability of killing us, dismembering us, and placing our bodies in a trunk. But you never know who is who in these days, this day and age. This world, this present world is on edge. On edge. It's almost like this world wants to jump and commit suicide. This whole world. And I'm not talking about people. I'm just saying the energy of how chaotic, how it's almost as if there's just this predatory energy lurking. And you have to keep your head on a swivel because you just don't know. You just don't know. So on the Suspense Files, we're covering the who, what, when, where, why. And now you have an introductory understanding about this specific segment on the Sister Speak show. I'm your host, Sister Speak, recording from Dallas, Texas. This is what I do. I'm here for you, my brothers and sisters. I hope you are encouraged. We're going to get right into these. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. I'll be right back after this commercial break. Just the gender. They can reveal the agenda of a predator. The latest episode of the Suspense Files is available on demand now. The insanity that rocks the cradle. The pregnancy predator. On the Suspense Files, we're covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, including crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, urban cold cases, and more. Click the link in the bio for the latest episode on the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. Rated R for strong content, thoughts, and ideas. Sometimes you don't know who you're sleeping with. Sometimes you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. All you know is that you have to have it, and you have to have it right now. The latest episode of the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. On this episode, we're covering sex and murder, sleeping with the setup chick. Rated R for strong content and language. On the Suspense File, we cover the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why in urban crime.
From crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, and urban cold cases, and more. You won't be disappointed. On the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Click the link for the latest episode. And be careful.
What's the point of putting on a bonnet if it's not going to stay on my head? I'm tired of it slipping off and waking up to it the next day. There has to be a better bonnet for me that's stylish and stays on. Oh, child. Ooh, it's the pillow for me. I'm just going to have to sleep pretty. This last shift took me all the way out.
I'm going to get a bonnet tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm going to ask Mommy if I can get one for my bear, too. Just as soon as I wake up from my nap.
It's time to sleep pretty and protected with these stylish Mommy and Me bonnets available now at kklachey.com. These Mommy and Me bonnets are available in stock and ready for you to maintain your crown. KK Lachey is a look, feel, and vibe. You're able to shop these products and more when you go to the website. It's time to shop and chill with kklachey.com. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show. I'm your host, Sister Speak. The Suspense Files, we are covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime. I thank you so much for joining me for this episode. This is I'm not saying amazing episode, but this is going to be a game changer. I believe that we will all walk away enlightened from this episode. A lot of times you don't know which way I'm going with my episodes because you'll see my flyer and you'll be like, ooh, and you end up walking away with some life lessons, I'm quite sure, brothers and sisters. So I thought about it and I was like, when I was watching these news clips and when I put them together, it was really heartbreaking having to listen. It was heartbreaking having to listen to them because it's just so demonic, the energy. And I want to refrain from having to hit pause and comment. But there's just one particular clip on here. I just wanted to snatch this particular energy through the phone and slap her. But anyway, brothers and sisters, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into these news clips for educational purposes only. For entertainment purposes, I don't really find these to be entertaining. I find them more so to be for educational purposes only. For my brothers and sisters in the village to be aware of the fact that we are not supposed to commit murder. Self-defense is one thing, but to be a predator, no, we're not allowed to be. So our people particularly are in peril and we're not in necessarily the best standing with Yah, and we can't sit here and pretend like we are. I don't want anybody to fool themselves into thinking collectively our people are good. We're not, and we've been fucking up for a long time. We've been doing shit to each other, not loving each other as we're supposed to love each other as neighbors. We're not how we are supposed to be. Our energies are fucked up towards each other in some areas, and I understand there are highlights, but let me explain something to you. In totality, we are suffering, and if there's one specific area in the village that is completely polluted, is completely a war zone that is full of foul odors and nothing but just bodies piling up, that we cannot just pretend that we don't see these bodies piling up. We can't pretend like we don't hear the news, watch the news, see the various crime documentaries and crime shows that are out there. We're aware of the various platforms that specifically speak about these type of crimes, okay? It's all over. We can see it. The problem is, or the question is, are you desensitized by hearing these breaking news, the breaking news? Are you desensitized by seeing these crime documentaries and shows? Are you desensitized because this is just a common thing going on in the area where you currently reside? Where are you on the scale with your moral GPS when it comes to what's going on in the village? Now, either you're sold out or you're sold in. There's no in between, no pussyfooting it, no straddling the fence. Where are you when it comes to being realistic about our people and how our people and our morals are completely fucked up and out of tact, and how we continue to fucking take each other out in heinous ways with no beautiful outcome? It's more than just saying that's sad. Oh wow, did you hear about? It's like, look, these things are happening, and I don't want anybody to ever live in Wonderville and be thinking that these things can't happen where you're from. We always hear people saying we never thought this would happen in our neighborhood. Who are the people in your neighborhood? That's the question. Who are the people in your neighborhood? You have no clue. No clue. And these people in these news clips, they had no clue. No clue. All they know is that they smelled a foul odor. It was like an odor that they had never smelled before. It was an odor they had never smelled before, most of them. It was pungent. It was alarming. And it smelled so bad to the point that the cops had to be called. Or the police, depending on who showed up, because there's a difference between cops and police. And whoever showed up to investigate the crime scene, the foul odor was what made people place the call. And there lies the discoveries. The discoveries. Somebody lurking in the neighborhood. Somebody with a deadly secret in the trunk. The foul play killers. They're out there, and some of them have been apprehended. Now, you know what the worst part about that could be? Is that what if they caught the wrong person? Oh, it goes deep. See, the ingredients that make up solving a case, they're detailed. And if you don't have the spirit of discernment, no wonder your cases go cold. Let's get started, brothers and sisters. I thank you so much for being a wonderful listening audience. I will try not to hit pause and interrupt these news clips. I really will, because I want you to enjoy them in totality. Thank you for adding the Sister Speak Show to your podcast shuffle. Thank you for allowing us to be the flavor in your ear. I'm your host, Sister Speak. The Suspense Files. The Foul Odor. Foul Play Killers. They're in the trunk.
Horrific story of a woman found dead and her body stuffed in the trunk of a car. And today, police searched her home in an attempt to find out exactly what happened. Tonight, we are also seeing a picture of the woman, Brianna Johnson, for the very first time. The people who knew her providing us with that picture. According to investigators, she is 28 years old. Channel 2's Rochelle Turner joins us live with more on the investigation. Rochelle?
Jonathan, as you mentioned, detectives spent the entire morning searching inside this home right here behind me. They found evidence from that car in Beaumont that led them to this residence, and through a search warrant, they found a dead dog, and they're also reviewing security footage to try and figure out what happened. Now, I do want to show you 28-year-old Brianna Tierra Johnson. Her body was found inside of a trunk following a car chase that ended in downtown Beaumont early Saturday morning. Officials identified the driver as Victor Charles Campbell, a 35-year-old man from Fresno. Detectives believe Johnson and Charles were dating, but it's unknown if they were in a relationship or just friends. Detectives are still trying to determine where the murder took place.
We found items on scene that could link the persons involved back to this address.
Campbell was transported to the Jefferson County Jail. He faces charges for felony evading arrest, driving while intoxicated, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. And right now, detectives are just still working on this investigation. They're asking anyone with information to give Crime Stoppers a call. Reporting in South Houston, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC Channel 2 News.
And now to a disturbing discovery in Queens where a woman was found dead in the trunk of a car.
Several people are now in custody. CBS 2's Allie Bauman joins us live from Far Rockaway with more. Allie?
Hazel and Christine, police are canvassing the area and trying to identify this woman whose body was carried out of a home here early this morning and found in the back of a car. Investigators searched a car near Nassau Expressway and Bayview Avenue Wednesday morning. Police followed the car there just before 2 a.m. After sources tell CBS 2, the officers observed 4 men near Foam Place struggling to load a large and suspicious object into the trunk before driving off. When police pulled the car over, they discovered an unidentified woman, unconscious and unresponsive, wrapped in a blanket in the trunk. EMS pronounced the woman dead at the scene, and police took the 4 men into custody. The medical examiner is working to determine the woman's cause of death. Charges for the 4 men are pending. Sources tell CBS 2 they were already under surveillance by the NYPD for an unrelated investigation. Police are probing a possible gang link. We're live in Far Rockaway, Queens. Allie Bauman, CBS 2 News.
Big story in Action News tonight is a developing story in West Philadelphia. The body of a woman has been found in the trunk of a car. That grim discovery was made in the 5000 block of Marion Avenue. Action News reporter Christy Aletto is live at the scene. And Christy, what can you tell us?
Well, Jim, it was a towing company employee who made that gruesome discovery. He apparently smelled a foul odor that led him to the vehicle that police had just towed away. Hours after the gruesome discovery, detectives worked to tow away this silver Dodge Charger. Inside the trunk is reportedly the body of a woman found on the 5000 block of Marion Avenue Tuesday afternoon.
They were called from an employee saying he found a body, and I thought he was joking. I realized he wasn't. I told him I'd be right here, came here, smelled it. I said, let's call the cops.
Joe Swan with tow truck company Superior Automotive tells Action News he quickly learned this was no joke and called 911.
Did you see what was inside the trunk?
Nah, I didn't see it.
You just smelled it.
I smelled it.
The odor of a decomposing corpse so pronounced it lingered along the West Philadelphia block. It was that scent that led one of Swan's employees to find the car in question. Still traumatized, that employee retraced his steps with detectives on scene. It's not clear how long her body had been there, but workers in the area say they began to smell something foul around Sunday, but didn't suspect anything because this industrial park is often used as a dumping ground by people in the surrounding neighborhood.
It's common to smell a foul odor for a couple of days and then it goes away. I didn't think nothing of it. It's just one of them days that I wish I'd have never told my guy to clean up. For him, you know, he's discovered it. For me, it's just like, I don't know, it's somebody's child.
And because that body is so badly decomposed, police have been unable to identify that woman and are now looking for the person responsible. Anyone with information is asked to contact detectives.
That would be my
West
last
Philadelphia,
day of
Christy
work.
Aletto, Channel 6, Action News. Jim?
Thank you, Christy.
Their search for John Swanigan led them to the intersection here of Aspen Street and Dickens Avenue in Sebastian, where a car was parked. As detectives approached the car, they saw flies around it, and they could smell a very pungent odor. When they popped the trunk, they found their missing man, and this case had become a homicide.
All right, thank you.
Clara Chance was surrounded by friends and family at her Vero Beach home on Wednesday, all leaning on each other.
So it's been hard, but now I know where he's at.
Chance had been searching for her son, John Swanigan, for more than a week. She hadn't seen him since Friday, January 9th.
Then that Saturday night, that's when I started getting worried because it's unusual for him to stay out 2 nights in a row.
I never received a call from him, and when he go missing, if he don't call me, he know my number by heart, something is definitely wrong.
That's when Chance turned to the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Investigators there learned Swanigan had last been seen on the 9th with this woman, Andrea Sanchez of Sebastian. They traced her to her home on Dickens Avenue.
and found Swanigan's body in the trunk of her car.
We are certainly treating this as a homicide. We've got a dead missing person found in the trunk of a car, so it's going to be a homicide.
Flowers says Sanchez couldn't really explain why Swanigan was in the trunk or how he got there. But even after an autopsy, they're still not sure how he died.
He was not shot or stabbed or, no strangulation that they could see.
For now, Sanchez is only charged with improper disposal of a body that was Clara Chance's son, Tim Mincy's best friend.
It's really shocking because he's a good boy. He's a good man.
And given that they still don't know how Swanigan died, the sheriff says this investigation is ongoing, and depending on what they find, more charges could be coming. In Sebastian, Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
Well, tonight we are learning disturbing new information in a case where 2 children were found dead in the trunk of a car following a traffic stop in Baltimore County.
Warning.
Their aunt is now facing charges, and court documents reveal gruesome details. WJZ is live at District Court in Towson. Abijoy Burnett has those details, and we do want to warn you, they are graphic. Abijoy.
Denise, good afternoon to you. Well, Baltimore County police are saying this all started from a traffic stop when the suspect was speeding. They say when they pulled that person over, they smelled an odor, and that's when they found the 2 kids in the trunk. 33-year-old Nicole Johnson faces several charges, including 2 counts of child abuse that resulted in the death of 2 children under 13. Baltimore County police say an officer pulled Johnson over late Wednesday night, and when the officer told her that the car had to be towed because the tags were fake, the officer detected the unmistakable odor of decomposition. At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket, exposing the decomposing body of a young child. And after a search, officers found a plastic bag that was tied up. The bag was opened, revealing another decomposing body of a young child. Police say those kids were her 7-year-old niece, Jocelyn Johnson, and her 5-year-old nephew, Larry O'Neill. Johnson told police she was taking care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to. But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged to have the children returned, but the defendant never showed. According to the documents, the little girl may have been dead since last year. The aunt told police that in May of 2020, when they were staying at an inn off Pulaski Highway, she hit the little girl, and the girl fell and hit her head. Johnson described placing her niece inside a suitcase and carrying her around in a car for many months. And according to the documents, Johnson also told police that the little boy had an injury about 2 months ago, and he never woke up, and that she placed his deceased body in the plastic tote and kept him in the trunk with a sister. Johnson remains in jail with no bond.
Okay, check this out. I wasn't gonna even wait till the rest of the clips even played. There just comes a point in time where you just have to pause. And you gotta say to yourself, what's going on with me? Now, I'm not going to hold a gavel on this. I'm just going to say this. How the fuck was this woman even a good candidate to look after these children? And you're carrying these children around in the car for months. Abusive, angry, mad, mentally insane, energy's off, and it's an energy. And the mother tries to get the kids back one time, but she wouldn't give them back. And that's a matter where you get the police involved in a normal vibration. I will always say this. there are a lot, not all, but there are a lot of sisters that are brown who need help, that are off their fucking rocker. Their energies are not balanced. And there are dark energies that plague them day in and day out. Some don't want their children. Were never even really qualified to have children. Some treat their children like shit and don't give a fuck about them children. And some of it has to deal with, like I said, the energy, and some of it has to deal with because of that nigga. Whatever the situation is, some turn their back on their children because of the man. Some. And you end up not giving a fuck about these kids. And you end up driving around with these kids in your car in bags for months, my nigga. For months. I can't call you sis. I can't call you shit. For real, though? Like, I am appalled. I just had to get that out. I'm appalled.
And according to those court documents, when the autopsy was done, that 7-year-old girl weighed 18 pounds, the 5-year-old boy weighed 21 pounds. The official cause of death has not been revealed just yet. Live in Towson tonight, Joy Burnett for WJZ.
In Missouri City, a woman reported missing turns up dead in the trunk of a car.
Tonight, her boyfriend is in jail, charged with her murder. Officials found the woman's body at Bent Oak and Ken Forest. Channel 2's Andy Sirota is live at the Fort Bend County Jail with more now on this investigation. Andy?
Lauren, police say Troy Parker was the last person to see his girlfriend alive. Officers found him at his home. Tonight, he remains behind bars here at the Fort Bend County Jail. We asked to speak with Parker, but he declined our request for an interview. Tonight, 20-year-old Troy Parker sits behind bars, charged with murder after police say he confessed to killing his 19-year-old girlfriend, Sabrina Herrera. Her family, according to police, reported her missing yesterday. They used the Find a Friend iPhone app to locate her vehicle in the 1600 block of Bent Oak Drive.
Arriving officer located the vehicle and conducted an inspection of it, and during the inspection of the vehicle, he located the victim's body in the trunk.
Investigators say Parker later confessed to killing Herrera at his home on Quail Run Court, then putting her in the trunk and abandoning the car.
He was just really matter of fact in what had occurred. He did show some remorse.
Neighbors say he lived here with his twin brother and their adoptive mother and was a star football player in high school. This neighbor, who wanted to remain anonymous, told us he thought Parker had a bright future.
You know, he came over, shot some basketball a couple times. You know, we talked about sports and work, and I just thought he was a good kid.
Parker will go before a judge to see about having his bond set. He is also charged with tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse. Police tell us tonight a motive is still under investigation and an autopsy is being performed on Herrera to determine how she died. Reporting live tonight in Richmond, Andy Sirota, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Thursday has been found, according to family members. 7 Action News reporter Dave Llewellyn is live in Southwest Detroit with more on the discovery and what police are saying. Dave?
New police say they will wait for a positive identity, but the 2 women who have had children with Ashton Butler say the search for him is over. Emotion spilled over as family and friends gathered at the corner of Ethel and Francis. They were fearing the worst, that the body of a black male discovered in the trunk of a car inside a garage on Ethel was that of 26-year-old Ashton Butler, who went missing on March 30th.
This is terrible. This is like the worst thing that I've ever experienced.
Melanie Brown is a daughter with Butler. She shared this photo of him with 3-year-old Ashanti while waiting as homicide detectives worked the scene.
I didn't prepare myself for this, though. You know how they say, prepare for the worst. and it's been since Thursday.
Detectives went door to door on Ethel to see if residents saw anything unusual. Police were called around 11:30 this morning by the owner of the White House in the middle of the block with the boarded-up windows. It had been a rental property.
He went to check out the garage. He found a vehicle inside that wasn't supposed to be there. He checked out the vehicle and found the body of a black male in the trunk of the vehicle.
The medical examiner arrived just before 3 p.m. Family had been out in the neighborhood and surrounding area the last few days, passing out these flyers with Butler's photo on them, asking for help in finding him. In the last few minutes, Butler's foster mother, his aunt, and a cousin also showed up here on Ethel Street. They are, at this point, looking for answers, and they also say they want justice. We're live in Southwest Detroit. Dave Llewellyn, 7 Action News. Anu?
Yeah, Dave, such a sad story indeed. Is this being treated as a homicide right now?
Fairly early in the investigation still. What police are saying at this point is that it's suspicious, obviously, with the body found in the trunk, but apparently there were no initial visible signs of trauma, so they're investigating this still at this point, again, waiting to make that positive identification on the body.
All right, Dave, thank you for that live report.
Inside a quiet Tampa neighborhood, a man comes home to find blood smeared all around his house and his roommates nowhere to be found.
Detectives quickly caught up with those roommates. This man, Kydell Weldon, and when they opened up his trunk, it quickly turned into a murder investigation.
ABC Action News reporter Ryan Raish was at the scene as detectives carried out the evidence. So, Ryan, what do we know so far?
Well, I can tell you this, when the homeowner came home from work yesterday, it was not a pretty sight. Blood all over the home, around the floor in the home, and even right over here in the driveway. Blood smears right around where a car was parked, basically leaving a trail for detectives.
The evidence collected at this home on Thrasher Drive in Tampa was likely to lead to a gruesome discovery, and it did.
Of course, we're all very concerned because we are a tight-knit community.
Detectives first got a call from the homeowner who was seen getting questioned and photographed by detectives late this morning. They say he returned home from work yesterday and found blood, lots of it all over his home. Deputies quickly found his roommate nearby, Kydell Weldon.
As the deputy was talking to Weldon, she observed what appeared to be blood on his hands. She also observed what appeared to be blood on his clothes and pants.
And that's not all. When deputies opened the trunk, they found the body of Tina Ryan, seen here in a mugshot for trespassing. Her body had obvious signs of head trauma and stab wounds to the upper body.
We know they were in some type of intimate relationship in the past. They currently were renting the same room together.
Neighbors in the community say Ryan and Weldon were known to fight. Weldon has been arrested in the past on charges ranging from domestic violence to child molestation.
It just was bound to be trouble.
One neighbor who wouldn't show her face says she had a feeling it would end like this.
There's just always a lot of yelling, fighting, chaos.
Tonight, investigators are still trying to talk to their suspect, but he's not cooperating. They found him with a body in his trunk, mind you, at a local labor bank where you pick up day jobs.
I've been in this community 19 years, and this is the first time anything like this has happened.
Now, it's unclear at this point that's occurred. I can tell you that one of the neighbors I talked to says she saw Weldon carrying a large laundry bag to his car sometime yesterday. Didn't think much of it at the time, but now it seems awfully suspicious. We're live in Tampa. Ryan Raish, ABC Action News.
2 victims of the shopping cart killer have been identified, and police say the suspect may be linked to a 5th murder. Fairfax County Police believe Anthony Robinson is responsible for the deaths of Cheyenne Brown and Stephanie Harrison.
Both were found in a container near the Moon Inn Motel in Alexandria last month. Fox 5's Paris Jones is live in Fairfax tonight. He has the details. Paris.
Right, Jim. So police were able to confirm their identities using DNA evidence. Now, I spoke to the mother of Cheyenne Brown about an hour ago. Of course, she says the entire family is just devastated about this, and she's still trying to wrap her mind around what happened.
It's bad enough you started with one, but to continue to do this, like, you're a freaking monster. You can't have any remorse in your body for the stuff that you're doing. For you to continue to do it over and over, now possibly a 5th time.
And police say detectives found the bodies of Cheyenne Brown and Stephanie Harrison after the Moon Inn Hotel produced a receipt showing Robinson stayed at the motel the same day Cheyenne went missing. They also say Robinson was the last person to see her alive. And like some of his other alleged victims, police say Robinson interacted with her using a dating app. And police also said today they received a tip this week. Robinson could be linked to a potential fifth victim, a woman who was found dead in a shopping cart in Washington, D.C.
This is based on digital evidence that puts him in the same vicinity around the time of the victim's disappearance.
Now, police say they are still looking for some more information on Robinson tonight. They're looking for anyone who may have interacted with him on some of these dating apps. Again, they say this was usually the method that he used to lure in his victims. So they hope someone who might have contacted him or someone he interacted with will reach out to them with more information on him. Right now, he's in jail awaiting trial for the two other murders he's charged with. Guys, back to you.
Holding in Bay Terraces, where 3 people were found dead inside a parked car. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Their bodies were found in the trunk yesterday evening. 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco is joining us with some new information. Rachel, neighbors say those bodies could have been there for days.
Lindsay, one woman told me that car sat parked right in front of her house, which is just beyond that fence, for roughly 3 days. It wasn't until neighbors noticed a foul odor that police were called. Remnants of police tape, fluid stains on the pavement, and broken glass are the only signs of Sunday's grisly crime scene.
And I got stopped by PD saying that no one could come in the area.
Kevin Totten grew up in the neighborhood. His grandmother's house on Dottie Point Drive and Jamie Avenue is right across the street from where the car was parked.
It seems like somebody, did what they did to these 3 innocent people and drove around and was looking for a spot just to dump a car with 3 bodies in it.
Police found the bodies of 2 women and a man in their late teens or early 20s in the trunk. Neighbors say the car was parked here for roughly 3 days. They didn't find it unusual until they started noticing an odor.
Because a lot of people park and they walk down to those apartments behind here, or they park and they go walk to someone's house over here, so it's not really like, oh, that's suspicious. Let me go see whose car it is.
Once the wind would sort of blow a little bit, you can smell like a really, it's hard to explain. I've never smelled that before, but I thought, well, maybe it was like trash or, like that kind of smell, but a more pungent odor than that.
The medical examiner is working to find out how the 3 died and their identities, but police say the condition of the bodies is so bad they couldn't even determine the race.
Whomever the victims were, the family of them, and just hopefully they can figure out who they are and sort of bring closure to them.
Police aren't releasing any information about the investigation. Neighbors say the car was an older model BMW, either silver or gray, with out-of-state plates. Coming up new at 7 o'clock, why some neighbors say they aren't surprised someone would choose this street to dump the car. Reporting live in Bay Terraces, Rachel Bianco, 10 News.
More warnings. That's why your heart is beating fast. He's out there again. You can see him from the stage. He's obsessed with you. That's why he's taking your pictures. You're his fantasy. The latest episode of the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now, rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts on this episode, Fantasies and Felonies. Strip Club Killers. On the Suspense Files, we cover the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, including crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, urban cold cases, and more. Click the link for the latest episode of the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Be careful. Try not to fall in love with a stripper.
The season of you being prey has come to an end. Family, friend, foe versus your freedom. What are you going to choose? The latest episode of the Vent Session on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Episode 2, Stop Being Weak. We're covering haters in your life. Why are they howling at you? Car chases. Let me out the car. This doesn't taste good. Where's the original recipe? Protecting adulterers. Why are your people scandalous? Rent, utility, and food relief. Learning how to ask for help and people who don't help. The Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Click the link for the latest episode. Warriors, mount up and be encouraged. It's always time to podcast and chill with the Sister Speak Show. We want to be the flavor in your ear. That's why we added a new segment, The Hair Appointment, focusing on hair, skin, and nails, with tips, products, and wisdom. We were covering this topic on The Upgrade and in the Speak Sister Speak mobile magazine. On The Hair Appointment, we will embrace, we will learn, we will refrain, and we will embody our crown, because our hair is our crown and glory, and we must protect it. We can't allow any type of damage or lack of wisdom to be the reason why we lose our crown. It's time for the glow up and to express yourself in a high vibration. Why not? Thank you for podcasting and chilling with the Sister Speak Show. The platform. This is your regular routine. What's different than any other day? You're not even thinking about the fact that there's pain behind the pleasure that you're seeking. The latest episode of Coming to the Stage on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, pornography, behind the scenes, the price of pleasure, contracting STDs, and quitting the industry. On Coming to the Stage, we're covering theater, TV, and film. Click the link in the bio for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. There's a price to pay. Can you afford it? It's time to vent and get it off your chest, brothers and sisters, with the latest episode of the Vent Session on the Sister Speak Show. Episode 4, Don't Join the Circus. In this episode, boundaries, cutting people off who keep dominating you. Boosie, he said what he said. What's the next question? Solo shifts. I won't be able to meet any of your expectations. Driving. Why is your license cutting up in school? Lace Candy, in love with the enemy. There are other episodes available on demand on the Vent Session. You will enjoy each one because we want to be the flavor in your ear. Each episode is rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts for all shades of brown people. It's time to podcast and chill with the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. Click the link for the latest episode. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show. I'm your host, Sister Speak. The Foul Odor. Foul play killers. They're in the trunk. I told you that the news clips were going to be graphic in detail. I did warn you. And I'm quite sure not even some, I'm sure they all disturbed you. And they should. But not in a reckless way, in an awakening, to make you cognizant that to be desensitized to what is plaguing our village is definitely the wrong energy to be in. Let's get into it. You don't know who you are meeting when you meet anybody through a dating app. Let's just get that out the way. That is applicable to other scenarios, but I'm going to stick to this specific one.
You don't know who you're meeting. You don't know who is behind this online profile. And so you take a risk. Now, some people say, well, you don't gamble. Gambling is not just sitting down at a machine. It is not just buying a lottery ticket or a scratch off. It's not just going to the casino. You can gamble spiritually, and it can fuck your life off. Because you are taking a risk, which is what gambling is, a risk in order to seek a reward. You see the one that you want, he looks good to you. He's on the other side of this pond, this river or this lake, what have you, and there's a crocodile, but you're willing to swim to the other side because he looks good or she looks good. Let me explain something to you. There is a risk when you date online or attempt to date. No matter what the website says to you, that whatever it promises to you, you still have to do your own background check. You still have to put yourself first, all of yourself first. You need to play as many scenarios out in your mind that your discernment will lead you to in order to protect yourself. Your urgency to have love is not that urgent. Let me explain something to you. Urgency is having to go to use the restroom and you've been holding your urine in for a long time and it's about to come out. That's urgent. Urgent is receiving news about something that requires your immediate attention. You have to understand what urgency is, what the word urgent means. You're not thinking properly and in the right energy if you feel that you are so ready to love that you're ready to risk your life online to meet somebody who is fine, thick. Because those are the two words that normally come out, those two common words that come out in describing people. Because we have not yet manifested, some of us have not yet manifested beyond the physical and have tapped into spirituality to understand what energy is. So you get duped every time. Many of you have no idea that you have escaped out of the hands of a killer. Some of you have crossed paths with killers and have no idea. Your urgency to date can lead you to where there is a foul odor. Do you want it to be that you created this online profile, created your login, your username, your password, and all of this, you upload photos, and there you go searching. Do you want it to be that in the end, people end up having to search for you? And they find you because you are emitting a foul odor from the trunk of a car? This has happened. We heard the news clips where a sister and, sisters, took that risk, went online, and met their peril, their demise, at the hands of somebody who I'm quite sure gave off the illusion that they were the one. They said everything, they did everything, and they were everything that you needed them to be, they needed them to be in that moment. It's called shape-shifting. It's called being an illusionist. It's called a mirage. It's not really there, but you think it's there. It's called you're seeing what they know you want to see. They're catering to your every desire because in your description, you described everything you want in a man. And he became everything, she became everything, and I'm talking about for the men, they became everything that you wanted them to be. But they were not that. That was not their true and natural, innate energy. The high vibration could only last for a second. And they snap. They snap.
They can't do it. They can only take it for so long, the masquerade, and they snap. And you don't know what is going on inside of their mind. Who is inside of their mind? Who is their master? They say, oh, he said he would. I met him on BibleMingle.com. And you go on BibleMingle.com and he is saying all these things and he is just flowing in the masquerade. And you are open. And you put yourself in the position. Put yourself in the position to be lured away when you're trying to get to the land of uprightness. And you want a kingdom spouse. You want a man that reads the Bible. You want a man that knows the Bible. You want a man that goes to church, that you don't even have to force to go to church. That's what you want. And I'm praying that you elevate your asking and that your wants mature. Because you're going to find out that some of the biggest actors, some of the best performing arts come from going to some churches. You will meet a lot of Oscar nominees there. And if you are not guarded, if you are not careful, a night of where the mask is off could lead to you being put in the trunk of a car, deceased in the trunk of a car. That is something that you need to think about when you have people who love you, people who care about you, people who are cool with you, who would be devastated to hear breaking news that in these 2-3 days that you have gone missing, your pattern is off, your routine is off, nobody has heard from you, everybody is concerned that you're in the trunk of a car, and it's because you met somebody online, on a dating app. Nonetheless, you need to start saying to yourself every single time, is it worth it when I get in this car with this individual? Is it worth it when I let them in my home? Is myself having to feel the warmth, feel the embraces, get kisses, get flowers, get all these various things that you feel you need to make yourself feel complete? Is it worth it? Looking good, smelling good, feeling good, and all that other type of stuff. Look, is it worth it? That foul odor could be your foul odor. Is it worth it? Now, there are foul odors, and I hope everybody is tending to all odors that could potentially be foul. And that's just a hygiene fun fact. Moving forward, disagreements, arguments, tension, witnesses end up in trunks. We don't know why they ended up in these trunks in totality. We just get bits and pieces. We use discernment, and we let the detectives, and those who are investigative journalists do the work. You really don't know what it is that led to these people getting into the car. Being put in the trunk of the car. And a lot of these relationships that these victims had, some of the family members just didn't even know who they were friends with, allegedly. And I can't even use that word friends because this is not a friend. Who they were frenemies with, who was their frenemy, who they were dibbling and dabbling with when the moon was up, or even when the sun is up, And I think about that brother. He was at least, I know he was over 65. He looked over 65. And he's down the street in this, Mexican lady's car in the trunk, and she don't know how he got there. WTF. What the fuck do you mean you don't know how he got there? Oh, I think you do. I know you do. You do. Something went wrong. And you have to surmise sometimes. looking at and do your deductive reasoning and be able to come up with how these two could have, what their common association was and what brought these two together. And a lot of times it's drugs. Okay? A lot of times it's criminal activity. Okay? It's a lot of times you just don't know what the fuck people are really into. It's the masquerade. And can you imagine just literally being on a city street, on a road, or on the freeway, expressway, highway, and as my niece once said, low way, or on the side streets, and here it is, there's a body in the car, in the trunk. This person got two hands on the wheel, radio on more than likely, and the car is funkadocious, and they're riding around like it's a regular damn day. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Who are the people on the freeway? What's going on in people's vehicles? People are using their vehicles as temporary caskets, holding places for dead bodies. What made them snap? What was it? Was it childhood trauma? Was it just that they're just completely dark, an agent of the dark one, tapping into energies? Is it drugs? Is it the food that they're eating? Is it what they watch? Who is this energy that is before us? Who are they? You cannot sit here and say, oh, he gave me good conversation. And I just like the fact that he, he's just different. Different how? Like different how? What is different about him? He just, see, you go searching for shit, trying to make up for the reason why something is off. Something is off. And I get him. Hold on, y'all. My earpiece done fell out. I'm expressing with my hands and everything. I get him, and if you guys don't get him, that's okay, because I love him. No, it's the penis, more than likely. More than likely, it's the penis that's got you dickmatized. You're in dicknosis. And you don't know up from down. And that energy has you being a public defender for this criminal. And this man, this woman, they don't mean you any good service. And you're defending him, you're defending her only to put yourself in the position for them to snap on you and put you in the trunk of a car. Not call the police. And I'm not even trying to say how they should even do with this. I'm just despondent. Gruesome in the fact that they're so regular about their day. And as I had interjected before, because the news clip about the woman who had taken on her sister's children only to abuse them, neglect them, discard them, and you need your ass whooped. You need your ass whooped. Oh, allegedly you need your ass whooped. And I don't condone violence, but I am telling you, I think we all know what adrenaline is about. We all have our that's it, hold the fuck up, nope, not today. We all know what that is for us, what that looks like for us. And I'm hoping that we all stay in a controlled energy, but I know you know that how could she not get her ass whooped? Right? And then you need a psychiatric evaluation because your niece and nephew are in the car. I mean, I love my niece and my nephew. I would come to their defense. You don't touch my niece and nephew. You don't fuck with my niece and nephew. I pray for my niece and nephew. I love my niece and my nephew. And that would never happen on my watch. Your role is to protect your family. It is not to abuse, to harm, to neglect, to malnourish them, to be mean-spirited. to hate them, to dominate them, to just be a total bitch to them. And I'm speaking to men too. Some of you are, and some of you know of, and some of you are not. So those of you who are not, this has nothing to do with you, but some of you are mean as fuck. You're evil as fuck. You use your age, your height, your voice, and you intimidate, and you're rude, and you don't give a fuck about your kids. You don't want anybody to tell you how to raise them because they're your kids. You don't want, you will rise up and suddenly become a warrior, not even a warrior, but you become real defensive if anybody says anything to your kids or to you about your children. Meanwhile, your children are screaming out for help, and so are you. You got to stop fucking. You got to keep your fucking legs closed. Ain't that much dick in the world. Because how did these children get here? Okay? This may not be this podcast for some of you. I don't give a damn. This is about what it is. Let's just keep it a buck. How did they get here? How did these children get here? They get here through sex. Born out of wedlock, some of them. And born into fuckery at your hands, at the generational fuckery. And it is disrespectful and disgusting, because there are several homes as I speak in this very moment full of bullshit ass, ghetto ass, rearing, not even rearing, just the whole fucking house needs to be cleansed. Demons running loose in a home where most of the time, some of the time, there are a lot of women in the home, a lot of children in the home, and there's no spirituality, just demonic activity, and you don't give a fuck, and your children are suffering, and so are you. And you walk out that door, and you expect us in a high vibration, in a concerned vibration, to not say anything, to not want to see better for you, and then to wonder what the fuck is going on with you. And your attitudes are fucked up. They're nasty. They're ignorant. They're horrible as fuck. And you're a menace to society. And you need to know that. Excuse me, not to society. You're a menace to the village. Fuck society. You're a menace to the village. And you go around terrorizing people with that fucked off energy. And your kids get that fucked off energy. And they terrorize people, but they're abused because you say things to them and you do things to them and you expose things to them that they are not supposed to be exposed to. And you expect to get what the fuck on Mother's Day? Shouldn't even be celebrating that shit. No holidays, but you really got the unmitigated gall to pop your collar and show up for the gram, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever else the fuck you're on for Mother's Day. For what? Again, for fucking what? And you talk shit about Father's Day. You chose him. You chose him. And then you don't want them for whatever reason, can't take care of them for whatever reason, whatever it is. I understand circumstances. I understand it. I understand postpartum depression. I understand not being able to take care of your children because you're overwhelmed. I understand there are different energies. Hear me. I'm not being insensitive, but I'm keeping it a buck, and you know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. Snatching your children all around. Yanking them. Beating the shit out of them. Hitting them with any old fucking object you can find. That is abuse. Nah, it's you don't get a pass and say that's my child. I can do what the fuck I want to with my child. You better watch the fuck out for the angels. You better watch out. you better fucking watch out. Because there comes a time and a place where you're going to get yours. You're going to get it, and you're going to get it good. Because that's the only fucking remedy for you, to get it good. Some of you don't give a fuck if your children get taken away from you. You think that's a relief. You don't care if CPS comes and takes your children and puts them in the system. You don't give a fuck. Because all you want to do is party and bullshit. Some of you. Allegedly. And then, here it is, you give your child to a family member because you just can't do it no more. And you had no idea that she couldn't do it ever. Now what? Now what? They're in the trunk. They're in a bag in the trunk, and the bag got maggots, and they're decomposing. Now the fuck what? Some of you don't care. Some of you do. But that's foul play. Foul play before they even got into the hands of the auntie. That was foul play. And I can't even call her auntie because auntie is like a sweet term of the aunt. Ain't that much dick in the world. Ain't that much sex in the world. I am not playing with y'all. Woo-wee. I'm just really irritated by that. Vexed beyond comprehension almost at the audacity. The audacity. I mean, it makes no wisdom. 3 teenagers are round up looking like they were in their teens or 20s in the trunk of a car. 3 in the trunk of a car, y'all. 3. What happened? Why? What led to those circumstances? What did they see? What did they know? Was it a serial killer? What happened? The energy of murder, being a murderer, we are not supposed to kill. We're not. But our people, fuck it. That, a lot of times, excuse me, it appears to be that our people love to say, oh, well, that was back in the day. That doesn't apply to us now. This, that, and the third. Y'all keep on pussyfooting and try to remix shit to make your fucked off decisions make you feel better in life. You keep on trying to remix the word if you want to. You keep on trying to say that's not what he meant. He really meant this. You keep on interpreting that. Keep on trying to interpret the scriptures the way that you think that'll appease your lustful desires. Go ahead. We're not supposed to murder each other. I can't find a good man. Tell your brothers on the block to stop killing each other. Stop being a setup chick. Put yourselves in a position to where we can actually hold each other accountable. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. To end up in the trunk of a car is not what any of us ever want to experience, and we won't know if we experience it if we're in the trunk of the car. Now, there are some instances where people do make it out alive in the trunk of the car because it's called the grace of God. It's called mercy. It's called wow. It's called woof, a testimony. It's called a miracle. A miracle. That they were found or they escaped just in time. Just in time. That's why it's important for us to exercise and gain strength, endurance, to at least be able to put up a good fight. To not be so weak, so dainty, so fragile, so spineless, not to be a sucker, a punk, but to actually be a warrior to where you can defend and protect yourself using your physical strength, using wisdom to not put yourself into a corner, in an alley, in a trench, in a trunk, in bed with a killer, in bed with a psychopath, on a date with a psychopath, a serial killer, have no idea who he or she really is, did not run a background check, did not use discernment. You said wisdom. What's that? Are you leading yourself to your own demise? Are you trying to put yourself in a trunk? You see the red flags. You see the crazy quirks. You have caught some things that let you know that this person is off. Off. There's something severely wrong with this person, but you keep giving, I'm just gonna give him one more chance, because you know, it's the Bible, and we supposed to be there. Listen, let me explain something to you, lily pad. Listen. You are a serial killer's wish fulfilled. It is one of those situations where if that's the vibration you're operating in, it's almost like the killer's giving you a head start, but they're going to catch you anyway. It was the confidence of Jason in Camp Crystal Lake that he knew he was going to get his victims. He didn't never fucking run. He walked and he executed. Who are you entangled with? Are you in a organized crime situation where putting bodies in the trunk is just a part of what y'all do? It's just a part of the gangster way? Is there a body in your trunk right now? How fine is he, sis? How thick is she, bro? Do you really know them? Are they who they said they really were? They're showing up at your house because you gave out your information. You can trust him, right? He reads the Bible. He says he's a Christian. He says that you are his wish fulfilled. And tonight he wants to take you out on a night on the town. And you're going to go. But you're not just ready to have sex yet. And he snaps. And he overpowers you. And he takes your life. Because you were open and vulnerable. Ready to love. But full of lust. He's an energy vampire. This is what he's done to the other women. What other women? Excuse me for bumping my microphone. The other women. You thought you were the only one. Oh, no. Nah. And when he puts you in the trunk of the car, you're going to see what I mean by the other women. There's going to be some evidence left over because he's wanted. He's wanted in his old hometown for a murder. Same MO, body found in the trunk. But he was able to escape. Oh, his victims, he meets them online. Just like he met you. The moment you put on that seatbelt and that car door locks, that's it. It's the mask. It's the friendship gone wrong. It's the family feud. It's the love triangle. It's the debt owed. These are some of the reasons that they're in the trunk, that there's a foul odor, that there was foul play. They try to do their best to try to get rid of the evidence, but the Most High God sits high and looks low. His eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, so no one on this earth, past, present, or future, will ever escape court. Or you're going to go to court. Oh, some will be physical, some will be a spiritual court, but you will have to go to trial, because thou shalt not kill. Because you have to answer for it. Because he knows you did it. No one. I'm sorry, y'all. That was hecka loud. I just realized the volume. I'm so into this. I'm so into this. I'm like, the background music is a little bit too loud. I apologize, y'all. No one escapes judgment. No one. And if there is a body in that trunk, oh my. Oh my. Oh. When they pop the trunk, there's the secret. The detectives have to see some gruesome crime scenes. The parents have to identify, the family have to identify the victim. And that's because nobody really knew that the person driving the car had a body in the trunk. That the person that was driving the car was capable of putting a body in the trunk. But that odor is foul. And it's pungent. Are you willing to put yourself in a position to narrowly escape? Rage, anger, unbalanced energy, growing up and seeing inexcusable violence, being exposed to violent energy, dark energy, bloody energy, creepy, crawly energy, gothic energy. Playing with black magic, spell work, and voodoo, tapping into energies that you have no business fucking around with. Taking drugs that take your mind into realms that it has no business going into. Seeing things, hearing things, and having these things tell you to go out and do these things. Fucking around with your own mental health. Voluntarily putting yourself in the guillotine. Both the victim and the villain. What are the ingredients that would make anyone do these type of crimes? commit these crimes and put the bodies in the trunk, what would do it? There are ingredients. And most of the time, there's no rehabilitative process. You know why? Because what the fuck is the prison system going to do about a spiritual attack? What can they remedy? What can they do? Who is qualified on the grounds to help in a spiritual manner? Trailblaze and be bold and stand on the front line to cast out the demons that plague many, many people that are incarcerated and are in insane asylums. Many. The remedy of giving them medicines that make them see and hear more shit and have more psychotic episodes is not the panacea. Got that shit fucked up. I don't care how much money you all make in pharmacy, in big pharma. It doesn't matter to me. That's your greed. That's your gain. You got to answer for all of your tactics and why you do what you do. And the reason why you have to answer is because how are you helping? How are you helping in totality? What are you doing when there are holistic ways to help? Spiritual ways to deliver people. But I would not expect this world and those who operate in this world who hold positions of allegedly being able to help people to have the type of empathy and to actually care about people in a soul level, in a spiritual way. No, I don't expect that. So I'm not going to be outraged about what you won't do. I don't expect anything else from you but low vibrating. What I do expect is for my people to back away, to pull their energy all the way back. Because you're not rehabilitating anybody by doping them up. Because we all are aware, there have been jokes about it, but there's nothing really fucking funny about it. Really, I mean, it's funny because in the way that it's delivered, but the side effects show me that you have not yet mastered what it is that you're putting out for the people to take. Because why the fuck would a side effect be that you are going to get A through Z, but while trying to cure number 1? You don't possess the healing power. You know, I am so encouraged by the woman with the issue of blood who pushed through to touch the fringes on his garment, Most High God's garment. It is seeking a spiritual healing. It is eating and putting yourself in a position to win. That helmet of salvation is real, and you got to feed your mind. And you cannot rehabilitate somebody if you are not rehabilitating them. You're just there to dope them up and let them run amok until what? And then you release them back into the world. And they're even more fucked up with more energies in them, doped up, and it's just a world of chaos. And then these are the energies that are putting people in the trunks of the car. There's no real remedy that this world really offers for those who are suffering. It is a spiritual attack. And if you do not have the power, the gifts, the ability to emancipate through voice, action, or deed, through voice or deed, then what are you doing? Who sent you? Who is your master? What is the point? Money. That's it. You don't give a fuck about these people. And these people don't give a fuck about themselves. It's just a gamut of apathy. Everybody is just whatever is whatever. Our people are not being rehabilitated. They're being drafted by the Dark One, who wants to have 100 voices in their head. Can you imagine? literally out of your right mind, in your left mind, not in your right mind, and having voices tell you to kill, to dismember, to murder, to go against the commandments, to dishonor yourself, to harm, making low vibrating, dark suggestions. These are some of the things that people are plagued with in their minds as I am saying this. And they take medicines, and that's when you hear the term such and such is off their meds. And that's why they had a psychotic breakdown. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. They were off their meds way before then. The meds that they need, they're not getting. A lot of people, the medicine that you need is an exorcism. You need to cast these demons out. You have something in you that is haunting you. And as long as that dark energy is inside of you, you will continue to make fucked up, low, dark, evil decisions, and you could possibly have the energy to commit foul play. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Mystery, intrigue, suspense, all of the elements that make up the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show. And the latest episode is available on demand now. On this episode, Expelled, No One Will Tell, Murder in the Student Body. On the Suspense Files, we are covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime. From deadly relationships to urban cold cases and more. For all shades of brown people, this episode is rated R for strong language, thoughts, and ideas. It's time to click the link and podcast and chill with the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. If no one tells, someone may get away with murder. Are you going to let that happen? We'll see. Have you ever said something funny to someone and they responded with, you know what, I really needed that laugh? Well, that's what the Laugh Line is all about on the Sister Speak show, and the latest episode is available on demand now, rated R for strong language and content. On this episode, we're covering Respect the Comedian. Was the late Paul Mooney the black sheep of comedy? And naturally funny rapper Plies. On the Laugh Line, we cover all aspects of comedy, classic and contemporary comedy audio clips, special guest comedians, comedy show reviews. You will not be disappointed, and you will definitely get the healing that your soul needs. On the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Click the link for the latest episode. And get ready to have a good time, because it's time to podcast and chill. Brotherhood, sisterhood, leadership. Those are the qualities that you were looking for when you were joining, not humiliation. The latest episode of The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, death before degree, hazing in fraternities and sororities. On The Culture Climate, we're covering what others are afraid to cover in the village, including controversial conversations, taboo subject matters, addressing the inner me's, exposing the enemies, interviews, audio from video clips, international, national, local news affecting the village. Click the link for the latest episode. On the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Remember, you don't have to die to belong. When it comes to being a rap lyricist, what sets you apart is your ability to be able to freestyle on demand. If you can't freestyle, you can't rap. The latest episode of the Tour on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. In this episode, beatdowns versus bars, when freestyle battles turn violent. Rated R for strong content and language. On the tour, we cover all aspects of the music industry, focusing on musicians, managers, songwriters, producers, music groups, DJs. with exclusive music as well as concert reviews and IG Live concerts and interviews. On the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Go ahead and click the link for the latest episode. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show. I'm your host, Sister Speak. Listen, there are some people who are socially awkward. They do not have the skill sets that are needed to really interact with people on a balanced energy level. There are some people who have no idea about the low vibrations and the high vibrations. And until you can understand that, you will find yourself doing things and participating in things rather, or thinking a certain way that is just off. Okay? There are some people who do not know how to interact with the opposite sex or the same sex. They just do not possess the ability yet, or never will, to have a balanced energy when they meet people, and no matter and when they go into whatever environment they go into. And it takes a lot of practice to balance your energy. It takes a lot of practice to be able to restrain yourself, to have self-control, to not go certain places, to not do certain things, to not allow yourself. It is a battle. It is spiritual warfare. Okay? The dark one wants to keep you over here in darkness, have you low vibrating, but the Most High God would rather have you in the marvelous light, in a high vibration, to where you are less likely to sin in that manner. Now, we're not perfect, okay? That's no need to even have that disclaimer. But when you are working towards uprightness, when you are working towards not being the old you, doing the old things, hanging around old environments, being around old people that you know are no good for you. No good for you at all. It is a matter of, if you're going to rock the vote, allegedly, why don't you vote for yourself and elect that you remove yourself from these environments, and that you try the high road, the high vibration. Otherwise, you could snap in a low vibrating energy. And the generational curses could really be a driving force that would lead you to committing foul play, or hanging around people who do it, or being the victim of it. Pull your energy all the way back. Stop declaring that you should be here, there, and here by now. A lot of times, sometimes, we want to rush the process. We want what we want when we want it. And you see other people having what we want or what you want, and you're ready to rush the process and get entangled in some shit that you weren't ready for. As if the Most High God is not omnipotent, as if he's not wise, as if he doesn't know what he's doing. You keep running into the same fuckery because you're not learning the lesson. And don't let the lesson be ultimate, final, fatal. Do not let the lesson be fatal. Learn from the other fatalities and put up a big ass red flag in the mirror. So when you look in the mirror, you can see the red flag on your face. Sometimes you're a red flag too. It's real easy to say red flag, oh, that's a red. But you can be a red flag too. You can be a 5-yard penalty too. You can be a false start too. You can be a fumble too.
You can be a 0 to 42 score too. You could be an L too. You can be a liability as well. Ooh, that was my stomach. I don't want y'all to think that was gas. I did have beans, but that wasn't gas. I just want y'all to know that was not a pedo. Pedo is fart in Spanish. Because that sounded like bubbles. Oh, no. Might have to end this show a little early. Oh, my God. We ain't finna do this. I rebuke you, Dark One. You ain't finna steal this conversation. You could be a liability as well. You may not be a good woman yet. You may not be a good man yet. And it can't be, well, I never had nobody. Okay, all right. Moving forward, what are you going to do about it now? If you have not had a role model, you have to seek your healing, okay? Seek it and find ways to be everything that you weren't taught, that you needed to know, okay? Growing up and learning is a consistent process. And we cannot afford to be an illusion and have on a mask. I don't want my brothers and sisters to end up in the trunk of a car. I don't want my brothers and sisters to be in a low vibrating energy where they have to put somebody in the trunk of a car. I don't want my brothers and sisters to kill each other. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. The time has been well spent. You've been listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show, covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime. I do want to leave you with a word of encouragement, so I'm going to play this and I'll be right back. You've been a wonderful listening audience. I really appreciate you all. I miss you all when I'm not on here. You mean a lot to me. You all are listening, you're downloading. I really appreciate you all. In Africa, in the USSR, in Australia, in Canada, in the United States, in South America, all over the world. You all are listening to the Sister Speak show. You're sharing it, and I can see that. Thank you. You are a special part of the Sister Speak show, and you need to know it. I do this for you. I do it for myself. I do it for, and that's secondary. Primarily, I do it because it's my assignment. I want you to be encouraged, and I don't want the dark one to dominate you, and there's nothing wrong with that. You better feel me. I'll be right back after this.
Slingshot season. This is Sister Speak with a word of encouragement. Spiritual warfare is real, and it is slingshot season. That's right. You are prepared for this. It is time for you to defeat the bears, the lions, and the giants in your life. You are stronger than what you think, and when you are chosen, you are anointed. No longer can you operate in the spirit of fear, and no longer can your boundaries be attacked. Carnal weapons produce carnal results. Spiritual weapons produce spiritual results. Get your smooth stones and your slingshot ready, because being victorious and more than a conqueror is a part of your lineage. Because our cousin David was about that life. Your enemy's plans are deterred, decapitated, and destroyed. Be encouraged.
I hope you were encouraged by that. I have put myself in some situations where I narrowly escaped. I have been in the midst of danger that I put myself in. I have associated myself with men that now, in my wisdom and in my maturity and in my spiritual growth, I realized that I should not have put myself in those positions. Yet I learned, and I realized that I had to go through that. So if anything, I could, number one, know that the Lord will bring you out. The Most High God will bring you out.
deliver you from yourself, and that if my energy is not balanced, I will attract these type of men. And I also learned that there are people who will do spell work, black magic, witchcraft, voodoo, juju, and pay for a spell to have karmic people be sent to you, conflict to be sent to you, danger to be sent to you. Now, yes, these people are batshit crazy. We know that. Absolutely nutty buddy. Nonetheless, they do these things. And nonetheless, I have voluntarily put myself in positions that I had no business putting myself in, desperately seeking. There it is. Desperately seeking love. Desperately seeking attention. Desperately seeking whatever I was desperately seeking. And ultimately, I realized I was looking for the Most High God. Yah. And even after he saved me, I still had to unlearn vibrations, okay? I'm consciously and diligently unlearning vibrations so I am able to attract peace, harmony, safety, security, righteousness, righteous people, righteous blessings, okay? Righteous environments, a righteous attitude. I have put myself in positions where I could have been killed, gone to places where I could have been killed, where I could have ended up in a trunk as well, in a barrel as well, in a shopping cart as well. And some of you can testify the same thing. That we didn't know these men the way that we thought that we did. Even sleeping with these men, we had no idea about our energy, keeping our energy, protecting our energy, how sacred intimacy is. We had no idea, okay? None. But as you grow, as you are blessed by the Most High God and Yah to elevate and to discern, and he gives you the gifts, and he clears, and he starts to cleanse, and he really cultivates, and he begins to renew you and emancipate you and put you in a position where you respect yourself, where you make decisions that please him, where you stand your ground. You didn't even know that you could stand, where you begin to be solid and firm in the truth, in who you are, what you will not tolerate, what you will not accept, what is not allowed in your energy field, what you are calling back your power in your energy daily. And it is a blessing, and it is the only one who can give you this mindset is Yah. You can't buy it. You can't manufacture it. You can't concoct it. It is a spiritual blessing, gift that he gives to those who choose to run away from darkness, who choose to say, Most High God and Yah, please save me from myself. I am reckless. I am destroying myself. I am sick and tired of myself, and I keep doing these things, and I know better. I just don't have the energy to stop. I need supernatural strength. I need your help. That's a candid conversation that he enjoys. Okay? You don't have to pussyfoot around it. You just got to be real with yourself. Because let me tell you something. I don't think any of us really know what we would do if we are put in a position where we have to fight for our lives
what we would do if we are put in a trunk alive. We don't know. We don't know. Unsuspecting of the demise that is lurking, the spirit of fatality that is lurking. We have no idea how desperately we need to be saved from ourselves and our decision making and our wants. We don't know what we really want. We don't know what we need, and we trust ourselves too much in a low vibrating energy. Now, if you are in a high vibrating energy, yes, you should feel confident in your decisions because it's for the greater good. It's it's divine. But right now, where are you when it comes to yourself? Think about it. It's not worth it, sis. It's not worth it, brother. He or she, they're not worth it. Snapping is not worth it. Losing control is not worth it. Raging is not worth it. Hostility is not worth it. Abuse is not worth it. It's not. It's not. It's not. Don't wage war on yourself, and don't wage war on others. You be very careful. Foul play. Foul play. Was the determination. A foul odor was smelled. They could smell it. It was pungent. Do you have a foul odor in the spirit? Are you pungent in the spirit? I have to say it because I'm being led. Are you pungent in the spirit? Do you smell horrible spiritually? Are you stinking spiritually? Smelling like 100 corpses, decaying simultaneously? Are you a foul odor? Is your energy foul? Your attitude foul? Your presence? Your schedule? Your regimen? Your family? Are you foul? Do you have a foul odor spiritually? Do you emit pollution? Death, murder, violence, abuse, manipulation, narcissism. Do you gaslight? Are you violent, verbally, physically, spiritually? Who are you? That is the question. Are you in the trunk of a car right now spiritually? Are you harming yourself? Are you hurting yourself? Are you allowing yourself to be harmed and hurt? Are you in a relationship, whether it be familial, family, or a phileo relationship, eros relationship? Are you in a relationship where you are being harmed, abused, beaten, neglected? Is food being withheld from you? Water, basic necessities. Are you neglecting yourself spiritually? Because if you are, then that's why there's such a foul odor. Quit fucking up the environment with the foul odor and cleanse your body, physically and spiritually and mentally. You need to be healed in totality. The people around you need to be healed in totality. And this is for some of you. To those of you who are in a high vibration, you know what I'm saying. I'm just reiterating points. The foul odor. The foul play killers. They're in the trunk. Don't let that be you. Peace and blessings. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge. My shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Blessed be the name of the Most High God and Yah. My listening audience is divinely protected, and so am I. I return to sender all spell work, voodoo, black magic, juju, all evil eye magic. I plead the blood of the Most High God and Yah over my chakras, my solar plexus, my north node, my south node, my walk, my show, my family, my tribe, my listening audience. I mirror it back into your bosom 100-fold, and it has an adverse effect immediately. Warriors, mount up. The devil's already defeated, defeated.